No, l'chaim levrocha. It's the class which follows the great day of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Lag BaOmer, and in addition to this, it's also the yortzeit of Rav Nachum ben Yisrael Ber, Rav Nachum ben Yisrael Ber, which is the father of Yisrael, Rav Yisrael Ber Kaplan. We're in honor of this. We're having the Farbrengen here in his home. We have the Rebbe with us, listening to every word. We have also wonderful guests that made the effort to be able to be here in person. So we'll allow them to be seen in a respectable way, of course.
There is someone here.
Yeah, well. And having given our brachas that the Baal HaYartzeit should be here with us immediately on a good and revealed basis. Chaim nitzchim, neshama beguf gashmi lamatum asor tvochim, on a good and revealed basis. Together with all of us, we should be in the Beis Hamikdash Shlishi, be in Yerushalayim Yirakedesh, in Har HaBayis, in the eternal Beis Hamikdash with the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. Teichef umiyad mamish mamish mamish. Chaim levrocha. Yechi Adonenu Moreinu v'Rabbeinu Melech Ha'Moshiach Chai v'Kayim le'olam v'ed. Chaim. Also wanted to mention. We want to mention that it's the class after we had the Vort celebration in honor of our son Avram Mordechai ben Eliyahu Eliezer Ephraim and Esther Hadassah. The Vort is they literally translated as the word. Each side, the Chassan and the Kala side, give their word of trust in regard to going and having the wedding. In the world, it's called, I guess, the engagement celebration. Mikol Mokim, everything should be in a good and revealed basis. Mitoch Simcha v'tuv levav, with happiness and joy of the heart, and with menuchas hanefesh and menuchas haguf, with the peace of mind of the mind and the heart in a manner of tranquility. And the main thing is that it should be with the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, as we mentioned before. Teichef miyad mamish mamish mamish. Chaim levrocha. Chi Adonenu Moreinu v'Rabbeinu Melech Ha'Moshiach Chai v'Kayim le'olam v'ed. We'll start with this week's story, which is something something very very much connected with Lag BaOmer. The great miracles of Lag BaOmer are very well known. They're familiar to many of us. And the Rebbe goes out of his way to go and to publicize the miracles, to make sure that they're advertised. And all these miracles, they bring the greatest miracle, and this miracle we're talking about is the Isgolos, the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, the coming of the great chasana between the Jewish nation, Am Yisrael, and the Eibishter, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It should be Teichef Umiyad Mamish. Story starts out not long, actually, the Lag BaOmer after 9/11, the terrorists had the terrible destruction of the Twin Towers, and that year was a very special year in many manners, spiritual manners as well, in order to go and to bring about a rejuvenation and a rebuilding and a strengthening, and this strengthening was not only in the United States, but it brought about many gatherings in order to strengthen the position of Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land, and this happened a little bit before Lag BaOmer. There was someone from Satellite Beach in Florida, the shliach there, Rabbi Chaim Tzvi Kanakov, who was offered to go to one of these very large organized gatherings in order to strengthen the position of Eretz Yisrael, of the land of Israel, and the Jewish nation in New York. They arrived. He agreed at the beginning. He was thinking, well, he has his shlichus here, but to go and to take off. But he said, if this will be able to go and to help, and especially the person that he was talking with, who was a very important person from his congregation, if it will help to go and to bring about a greater and stronger position, a greater and stronger position with this particular person from his congregation, so maybe it's worth his while. At the end, he left. He went. And they were there exactly for 24 hours. They were there for the gathering, and then they returned back to Florida. Once they were in Florida on the plane, while they were talking, so this balabas, this person from the congregation, told him, Rabbi, this was such a great gathering. It was fantastic. We should make such a gathering by us in Satellite Beach in honor of Israel. So the shliach thought to himself, and he said, his eyes lit up. He said, you know what? You're right, definitely. He had in mind that he's going to take this idea and to put it to the advantage of going and spreading Yiddishkeit, going and making sure that that Jews in his congregation and Jews in Satellite Beach, they'll all be able to come closer to Torah and mitzvahs. So the bottom line is, they decided they're going to do it. Fine. Once they decide they're going to do it, they had a few challenges on the way. First of all, it was exactly 10 days before Lag BaOmer. Second of all, in order to go and to organize such a, they didn't want to make just another Lag BaOmer happening. This was going to be a big happening, one of these like novel great get-togethers, because he said it has to be big in order to go into publicize about Eretz Yisrael. And last but not least, in order to do this, you need a lot of money. Last but not least, Lag BaOmer itself was the day that the shliach, had to go and to be by the bedside of his mother-in-law, who was scheduled at least to undergo an operation on Lag BaOmer. Having all this taken into consideration, he really didn't know what to do. But in this situation, like all situations when Chassidim and specifically Shluchim don't know what to do, he went and he wrote the Rebbe. He wrote a letter addressing all the issues, and he put it into the Gros Kodesh, the Rebbe's letters, and he had a phenomenal answer. The first thing the Rebbe addressed was the fact of the finances. The Rebbe writes to this particular person that asked about something else. He said, "You're worried about the finances. Don't worry. First you do, and in light of what you're going to do, the finances will come." Well, fantastic. You have to really have a strong emunah, strong bitachon, strong belief and trust in order to go into to do such a thing. And then the second answer was also in regard to exactly what the shliach wrote in regard to health. The Rebbe wrote that this activity is going to bring health to all the members of his family, of this person that wrote the Rebbe. Once he had these two issues cleared, he had no problem. He knew that he had to go and he had to take the whole process of making this big Lag BaOmer parade. Now he only had to go and to clear a few technical matters. In 10 days, he had to get licenses. He had to get a license to go and to make a parade, and he decided he wants to make this big parade. and he's going to use the main drag of Satellite Beach, which is, I don't know if it's Rishus Harabim, but thousands and thousands of cars travel on this road every day. So that was one thing. And then
81A.
yeah, I'm not familiar with the road, but if you say so, A1A, fine. The second thing is he decided, since it's going to be something, it's going to be a spectacular program, he wanted to have a plane in the sky, and it's going to have a banner, Israel, we're behind you. Great, sounds fantastic. But it wasn't that simple, because this was exactly after, like we said, the year of the attack on the Twin Towers, 9/11, and the American government made it forbidden for any type of airplanes to just go up in the air and fly. So this was a real challenge. The first thing was first. He decided he has to go and he has to address the chief of police, and he called up and he left and he spoke to someone in the office of the police department. And that same day that he called, they called him back, which is like quite miraculous, with all the red tape that's involved. And on a natural basis, to get such licenses, it takes anything between a month and maybe half a year. But in this case, the following happened. They called him up and they invited him that same day for to be addressed by a committee that was going to decide if they'll get the main drag, and the police will be able to put the blockade in order for them to make the parade. Okay. He comes that afternoon to the police department, and the chief of police is there. People from the mayor's office are seated, and before he has a chance to open his mouth, so the chief of police he didn't want to drag it out. He says, "Listen, to make a parade, you have no problem." Oh, that's fantastic! On the sidewalk. What? He was like, his eyes are bulging. He said, and then he starts explaining to the chief of police, "Listen, this is something in honor of Israel. This is something that we're doing in honor of one of the greatest Torah sages, the greatest scholars of the mystique of the Bible. We can't do it on the sidewalk. That would be embarrassment. We have to do it in the street." So the chief of police doesn't even relate to what the shliach is saying. He says, "Israel, huh? Tell me something. Did they get rid of Arafat yet?" This is a non-Jewish chief of police, and the only thing that he's interested when he hears Israel is if they got rid of Arafat. So the shliach is quiet, doesn't say anything. And then all of a sudden, the chief of police interjects and he says, "Listen, as far as I'm concerned, there's no problem. You'll have the street, you'll have full cooperation as far as the police is concerned, and everything is and everything. Yeah, just give us the exact date and when it's happening. We understand it's happening very soon." And that was it. Finished. The chief of police took care of everything, and he walked out of there. He was shining. Now he had to take care of his real dream, which was to go and to have this airplane flying with the banner. He spoke to people in City Hall, and they said, "Listen, the only way that you're going to get a license for this is you have to speak to the head general that's in charge in this area." I said, "The head general? Why?" I said, "Because of this, the government made it forbidden to go and to have small planes fly over major cities. You can't do it. It's a closed issue. But if there's anyone that can do it, it's the head general." He says, "What's his number?" He calls up his personal home number, and there's no one answering. So he left him a message, leaves him a message, and the son of the shliach sees how his father is hurting inside because there's no progress, and the Rebbe said, there's going to be, like say, there's a green light for the whole program. So the son of the shliach without the father knowing, went and he wrote the Rebbe another letter. And he asked him for a blessing for the program in general and for the plane. Okay, he puts his letter into the Igros Kodesh, and no sooner than he putting the letter into the Igros Kodesh, the phone rang. Phone rang. Who is this? The shliach picks up. Says, "This is the general that you left a message for." Says, "I understand you need some assistance." He says, "Yes," and he explains to him about Lag BaOmer, the program for going back in Israel, and the general says, "Listen, it's really something that is impossible, but I understand your predicament and I understand where we are coming from. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to grant you the permission," which is totally not understood, totally without logic, because who is this general that's going to go? They have a very big Air Force base in Satellite Beach.
Also Cape Canaveral.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention it. NASA, we have Cape Canaveral. That's why it's called Satellite, because they were picking up. And for them to go and to say it's not a problem, okay, wow, he was going out of his mind. The next day, he has knocks on the door of the Chabad house. Who is it? There's an agent from the FBI and from the military intelligence. And he looks at them and they say, "How can I help you? Maybe they're Jewish. They want to put on tefillin." So they say, "Listen, we understand that you asked for a license to be able to go and to fly a plane over Satellite Beach. So we arrived in order to check, because you claim that you're a religious institute. So we just wanted to come and to see with our own eyes what the Jewish institute that is asking for permission is all about." Okay, he brings them into the Chabad house. He gives them a royal tour of everything: the kitchen, the synagogue, the study halls, every little corner in the Chabad house. And they look and they're very impressed. They said, "Listen, Rabbi, this is a very nice place you have here." He says, "Okay, so what about the plane?" He says, "You'll be hearing from us, but as far as we're concerned, it seems that everything will be okay." And everything was okay. They received the permission for the plane. They had the permission to go and to make the parade in the middle of the street. And everything was unbelievably, miraculously, everything fell into place. And everything was such a big Kiddush Hashem. It was literally sanctifying the name of Hashem and sanctifying the Rebbe and Lubavitch's name. And at the end of the parade, there was a very big, wealthy person, very wealthy Jew from Satellite Beach that wasn't connected to the Shliach's congregation. And he all of a sudden walked over to him and he says, "Rabbi, I want to speak to you." He says, "Yes." He said, "Listen, what you did here was unbelievable. It was amazing. I appreciate it so much. What you do for the congregation, what you do for all the Jews in Satellite Beach." So he said, "Wow, okay, fine. That's wonderful." He says, "What can I do for you?" Sounds like, write me an open check, right? What can I do for you? You never know. With these people, you can never know. So the shliach was not that fast. He said, "You can do two things for me." Okay, fine. What's the first? He says, "If you would please, I would like to put tefillin with you." Okay, so this gvir, this wealthy person, he said, "Fine, I'll put on tefillin." And not only that, but he bought 2 pairs of tefillin from the shliach, one for himself and one for his son, to put on every day. And what's the second thing, Rabbi? He says, "Listen, you want to know what you can do for us? Listen, if you want to go and you want to broaden, you want to make larger the activities, so this demands it demands financial help, assistance. So if you will go and give a greater contribution in order to go and to provide for all the activities, so this is the way that you will be able to have more programs like you saw today." And he went and he took responsibility. He obligated himself to a very, very large amount that he gave also to the shliach. But this is just the, how would we say it, the tip of the iceberg, literally, of the miracles that go on, and specifically by the Rebbe. And the Rebbe tells by all the other Rebbeim, specifically by the Mittler Rebbe of Dovber of Lubavitch, the miracles that they focused on a faculty of children, people that were not able to have children for many, many years, and they came and they received blessings from the Mittler Rebbe, blessings from the Rebbe, and we see that Baruch Hashem, they already had more than one child, many children, Baruch Hashem, and the Rebbe says that it's not only in this faculty of life of children and family affairs, family matters, shalom bayis, and so on, but this is also in the matter of health. Each and every one of us, whatever we need, whatever is demanded, Hashem goes, and the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Rebbe himself comes and makes sure that we'll have what we need in financial matters, in begashmias. We're talking about parnasa, livelihood, definitely also. And this is the bottom line. Since the most important thing that the Jewish nation needs here and now is the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. So we go and we are beseeching the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach. We're beseeching Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. We're requiring and demanding, as the Rebbe says, from Hashem to bring us the Geula Hashlema V'Amitis, the true and the complete redemption, with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, and the third, and the eternal Beis HaMikdash, and should all be teichet from Yad, mamish, mamish, mamish. Yechi Adonenu, Moreinu, V'Rabbeinu, HaMelech HaMoshiach, Chai V'Kayim Le'olam Voed.